Okay, so I thought I would do a video, just kind of update, because yesterday I had therapy with my mom in Richmond, so I just thought I would do a video. I'll try and make this like not 30 minutes long. Um, we had a really good session. On the way up, we talked about everything really, my transition, school, work, you name it basically. But then my mom said that she has a really hard time calling me Blake, and that's like not the name that she would have picked for me. Um, and she wants me to go with like the male version of my name, which would be Patrick, and I don't want to do that, but we're talking about it. My mom's gonna pay for my name change in October, and she's gonna be a witness. But we talked with my therapist, and we all agreed that the best thing for me would be to move out of my house. But London is sadly off. I have non-alcoholic liver disease. So basically, I have like a fat liver, and I still get sick. Um, Basically, I'm trying to go to the University of North Carolina in Greensboro, so I'm trying to go to UNCG. I've sent them all my stuff. I'm waiting to hear back. Hopefully, I get in. I worked really hard. Hopefully, it's enough. If not, then I'm gonna live at home until I get in, basically, because my mom's like, well, like I'm not gonna let you like live in an apartment. You need to live on campus, and UNCG is like very trans friendly. My mom doesn't want me to just move to Greensboro, not go to school. She doesn't want me to go to the community college there because I'm already in a community college in my town. So I'm really hoping that I get in, just because like we've all talked and things are really tense at home. My dad's not on board with my transition. I'm not on board with him. We don't fight because we don't talk. He's said some things that are I find really hurtful, and apparently I've said things to him that he finds hurtful. Like I was trying to explain to him that it's offensive to me that he calls me his daughter because to me I have no connection to my birth female self right now. Like and my therapist and I talked and she's like, as you get further along in your transition, you'll be able to claim back your old self, but right now you're in a place emotionally where you can't because you're fighting so hard to be seen as a guy. And then my mom and my therapist and I talked, and my therapist told my mom that there was definitely no doubt in her mind that I am transgender. She's been seeing me for almost a year now, and she's like, Blake is Blake. And my mom said that she's trying really hard to come around to it. And actually, on the way home, it was our family friend's birthday, and I haven't talked to this person in probably like a year. I don't like talk to her very much, but when I was in fourth grade, I like went to work with her for a day because it was like take your child to work day. But my mom had like a meeting or whatever, so I like went to work with this person, and it was really cool. But I kind of forgot about a lot of this, and that's one of the things that I guess upset my dad is that I've kind of blocked a lot of my childhood out just because there was so much discomfort. uh like I remember being 13 and going to Hawaii, and I had huge, huge, huge boobs, and it was like I'm a guy in this bathing suit for girls, 13 years old, and I have a huge chest. Like that, it just there's so much disconnect that I've like blocked it out. But which to my dad is saying like, oh well, we gave birth to you, and my dad thinks that he failed as a parent because I'm trans. So my mom and my therapist are like trying to get him to Skype in so that he can talk to her, but they were like, we don't want you there for that conversation. And I was like, well, part of me wants to be there just so like I can hear stuff from him, but then at the same time, he's already said everything that he's gonna say to me about it. So I don't want to be there if it's gonna be a hostile environment, which I kind of have the feeling it will be. But anyway, she was my mom said, well, she was like, tell me about your daughters, what's going on with all of them. Uh, and because tomorrow's my sister's, or today's my sister's birthday. So yesterday she was like, tell me about your kids. Doesn't your oldest child have a birthday today and everything, or tomorrow? And my mom was like, yeah, yeah. So then I was waiting to hear the like, so she went down the list and she was like, and then she got to me and I'm like, I'm the second oldest child, I'm the middle child, and she said, well, actually, the biggest change has been Trish was living in Minnesota and Trish moved home, and I'm like gritting my teeth, like my therapist and I talked with my mom today, and she was like, Blake, your mom's trying, give her some slack, and I'm like, I know she's trying, but like it sucks when you have this identity in your head and it doesn't like they don't like talk about it or whatever. So then I was like, all right, suck it up, deal with it. Because gritting my teeth, and she said, well, Trish actually is Blake now, and Trish is a he. And so this person was like, well, Trish, can I still call you Trish? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But then I'm just kind of sitting there, because I'm like, this woman's like over 50 years old. What do I say to her? I don't talk to her very often. Like, okay, whatever. I've some people aren't gonna call me like, especially I mean, I've known this girl since this person since I was like fourth grade. So I was like 10 years old. And then she said, and my mom started explaining about how my like health issues and how I have always had a hormone imbalance. And then she said, I feel like a lot of Blake's issues were that he's trans and he didn't have help for it. So we were driving home from his doctor's appointment and he's being treated for it, and he's transitioning. He's on hormones. You probably wouldn't recognize him. Um, but that's what's going on. And then she said, oh, okay, so you're Blake now and you're a guy. And I said, yes. And she said, well, okay, well, you're not Trish to me anymore. You're Blake. Just like right away. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. But then she said, do you remember when you went to work with me? I'm like, yeah, I remember. But like, I know that I did. Uh, but I didn't remember much about it. And she said, I think maybe this is, you were a guy, I don't know, but you, I asked you what your favorite part of swimming was because I used to be a swimmer. And apparently I said I liked to go underwater and scream as loud as I could. Like that was my favorite part of swim practice. And then she said, and then you and I just sat screaming in the car for like an hour, just like screaming our heads off. And she's like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But I wish you, all the best luck and everything. And then we hung up, or they hung up later, or whatever. After this part of the conversation, I just kind of like put my headphones on because I was like, they were talking about work and everything else, and I was like, I don't need to listen to this. But then afterwards, my mom was like, just so you know, like she's the second person I've told, like outside of family. And I was like, well, who else did you tell? Because I kind of was, her and I were talking, and she was like, our neighbors don't really care. I'm like, well, our neighbors don't really know about it because when I moved home, you had said that you weren't gonna call me Blake, so I didn't know what name to say, so I just said Trish. But then she said, "Well, I told our other neighbor, and like a couple of weeks ago, and she doesn't care." Um, so right now though, I'm trying to move out. Um, hopefully it happens. I would move out next month actually, like the end of next month, and I'm hoping it happens. There's a lot of stuff I need to do to get ready for that. It's just London can't happen right now, and like I'm sad about it, but at the same time, I know that UNCG is a really good school, and they have a really awesome gender studies program as well as writing, so I can do both, and I can write books for queer people, and I can still do everything. I can go study abroad. I just can't like study there full time for 3 years because my health is still isn't good. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, I've had two tumors in the last 2 years, or actually a year, because this week, a year ago, I had my first tumor removed. So I've had two tumors in a year. Um, and what would I do if I got all the way to London and then I had a tumor again? I mean, what would I do? So it's not realistic, and it sucks, but it's not realistic. But at the same time, if I get into UNCG, I know it's gonna be a good fit for me, and I know like I'm gonna get out of my parents' house. That means that I'll be 2 hours away from home, so I can still see them. They can still see me, but then I'm free to transition because I actually did 2 months nearly being on needles without actually doing a shot at home because I would just go to my friend's house because I didn't want things to be awkward. I did 2 months of being on needles. Every Monday night, I'll just go spend the night at my friend's house. And for a while, I didn't come home for like 3 or 4 weeks. I just would not come home. I just like spent like a month on my friend's couch, like no joke. So things got really tense. They're still kind of tense. My dad works all the time now though, so I don't really see him. And when he does come home, we don't really talk, and then he just kind of goes to bed. So that's where I'm at. And I'll probably I don't know when I'll update again. Probably Monday, but that's where I'm at. And I hope everyone's doing good. Wish me luck on getting into UNCG though, because I seriously I need to get in. Uh, yeah. So I hope everyone's good, and I'll talk to you guys later.